They say a house becomes a home when laughter fills its walls. But in my house, the laughter had turned into echoes, echoes that no longer felt warm. My name is Margaret, though most people in town just call me Maggie. I'm 62 this year, a retired nurse, and a widow for almost a decade. My husband, Robert, passed away quietly in his sleep, leaving behind this old wooden house and our only son, Daniel. Daniel was always the kind of boy who wore his heart on his sleeve, gentle, kind, but too trusting. So when he brought home a young woman one spring evening saying she was the one, I wanted to believe him. Her name was Lily, pretty, polite, and soft-spoken. The kind of daughter-in-law every mother thinks she wants. She smiled too much, though. That's something I remember even now. There was always a camera in her eyes, watching, measuring, memorizing. When Lily first moved in, everything felt new again. The sound of young footsteps upstairs, the smell of perfume that wasn't mine, the clatter of pots and laughter during dinner. She helped me with the dishes, always insisting, "Mom, please sit down, I'll do it." I liked that she called me Mom. It sounded genuine back then. We'd sit on the porch after dinner, sipping tea, while Daniel scrolled through his phone. Sometimes I'd catch Lily glancing at us, not lovingly, not exactly, but like she was studying something for a report. I brushed it off. Young people these days live half their lives online, I thought. Maybe she was just shy, or too modern for an old woman like me. It started small. One morning, my neighbor, Mrs. Carter, mentioned that she saw our little family on Facebook. I laughed. "What do you mean?" "Oh, just a funny video. You were arguing with Daniel about the laundry, I think? It was so relatable." My heart froze for a second. I hadn't argued with Daniel in public. The only argument we'd had was in the kitchen 2 nights before. About something stupid, him leaving wet clothes in the washer. How did she know about that? When I got home, I asked Daniel about it. He laughed. "Mom, maybe Mrs. Carter's confused. She's always online." And Lily? She just smiled, that same polite, unreadable smile, and went back to slicing cucumbers. Over the next few weeks, Lily's phone became an extra limb. At breakfast, she'd set it face down beside her plate. At lunch, she'd disappear into her room for work. She said she was freelancing in digital marketing, making videos for family content. I didn't understand half of what that meant, but I wanted to trust her. Still, I noticed little things. When I raised my voice, she'd glance at her phone. When we talked about family secrets, she'd lean closer. And once, just once, I heard a faint click from her coat pocket while we were arguing. I told myself I was imagining things, but then came the whispers. At church, people looked at me differently. At the grocery store, 2 women laughed softly as I passed by. One of them said, "That's her, the one from the TikTok video." That night, I searched the internet for the first time in months. I typed mother-in-law argument funny, and there I was. Me, my kitchen, my voice. The video had over 480,000 views. The title read, "Toxic Mother-in-Law Freaks Out Over Laundry. You Won't Believe Her Reaction." I felt sick. The camera must have been hidden. My face blurred, yes, but my voice was clear. Every word, every sigh, every moment of weakness. I sat there for hours, trembling, scrolling through the comments. Some people laughed. Some called me a nightmare. Others said, "This is why I'll never live with my in-laws." It was like watching my dignity burn, one view at a time. At the TMC, I couldn't sleep that night. Daniel was snoring softly beside Lily upstairs, completely unaware. I wanted to storm into their room and scream, but my heart told me to wait, to be sure. The next morning, I made breakfast as usual. Lily smiled at me, the same way she always did, and said, "Morning, Mom. I'll take care of the dishes after I finish editing." Editing. That word hit me differently now. I studied her face, calm, cheerful, innocent, and felt my chest tighten with rage I'd never known. But I swallowed it. I smiled back. Because sometimes silence is sharper than accusation. For the next few days, I became an investigator in my own home. I checked the kitchen cabinets, the living room shelves, the corners of picture frames. And then, behind the curtain near the dining table, I found it. A small black recorder, no bigger than my thumb. It was still warm. When I pressed play, I heard my own voice, shaky, angry, alive. "You don't respect this house, Lily. I told you." "You always think you're right, Mom." "Am I?" And in the background, Daniel's voice trying to calm us both. That was our fight from last week, word for word. I sank to the floor, tears stinging my eyes. There it was, proof. Proof that my family had turned into content. When Lily came home that evening, I didn't speak. I sat in the living room, holding the recorder. She noticed it instantly. Her eyes flicked from the device to my face, then back again. "Where did you find that?" she asked softly. I said nothing. Daniel came in a few minutes later, smiling, unaware of the storm. But when he saw the recorder in my hand, his face changed. "Mom, what's going on?" That was the moment the air in the room grew heavy, like thunder waiting to break. It's a batient case. I could have exploded right there, but I didn't, because I realized something terrifying. If she'd been recording us all this time, then even my anger, even my heartbreak, could become another episode. I stared at the two of them, my son, my daughter-in-law, and I thought, when did our home become a stage? When did love become content? That night, I sat alone in the kitchen, watching the rain hit the window. The house was quiet, but it didn't feel peaceful. It felt hollow. I looked at the recorder again, that small blinking red light, and whispered to myself, "Tomorrow they'll hear my voice, but this time it'll be on my terms." Because sometimes the loudest revenge is telling the truth. The next morning, the house was too quiet. Even the birds outside seemed to sense something had shifted. I woke before dawn, made coffee, black and bitter, the way Robert used to drink it. The clock ticked like a metronome for my thoughts. Daniel came down first, rubbing his eyes, asking where Lily was. I told him she was sleeping. He smiled, half awake. "Let her rest. She's been editing late." Editing, that word again, like a knife twisting softly inside me. I placed the recorder on the table. It looked so small now, harmless even, but it had already devoured my privacy, my dignity, my peace. "Daniel," I said quietly, "when did you last ask your wife what she's been filming?" He frowned. "What are you talking about?" I pressed play. Our voices filled the kitchen, his, mine, hers, raw, unfiltered, ugly. Daniel's face drained of color. "Mom, where did you get this?" "Behind the curtain," I said. "Next to the dining table. Seems like the perfect place to catch a show." He stared at the recorder like it might bite him, and for a long minute, neither of us spoke. When Lily appeared, her hair was damp from the shower. She looked fresh, casual, unbothered. "Good morning," she said. Her eyes went straight to the recorder. Her smile didn't falter, not at first. I gestured toward it. "Want to tell me why my private life is entertainment for strangers?" For the first time since I met her, Lily looked unsure. Not scared, just caught. "Mom, it's not like that," she said quickly. "I just wanted to share real family moments online. People love authenticity." "Authenticity?" I snapped. "You call betrayal authenticity?" Daniel tried to step between us. "Please, calm down." "No, Daniel," I shouted. "Let her speak. I want to hear what kind of daughter films her mother-in-law crying and calls it content." Lily's lower lip trembled. "It wasn't meant to hurt you." "Then what was it meant to do?" "Earn money," she whispered. Silence. She sank into a chair, tears forming. "It started small, Mom. A clip of you teaching me how to make soup. It got 1,000 views. Then another video. You scolding Daniel about bills, 50,000. People liked it. They said we were real. Sponsors came. I didn't think." I cut her off. "You didn't think at all." Daniel's hands shook. "You made money off us without telling me." Lily buried her face in her palms. "I was trying to help, to save money for our wedding debt. I swear." But I couldn't hear any of it. The world around me blurred, every word sounding distant, hollow. I'd spent my life protecting this house, this family, and now the walls themselves felt like traitors. By noon, the whole town knew. Mrs. Carter knocked on my door, holding her phone like evidence. "Maggie, is this true? She really posted all that?" I didn't answer. Her pity hurt more than any insult. Behind her, 2 teenagers laughed as they filmed my porch. Even after Lily deleted the videos, the internet had already swallowed us. People mirrored, reposted, commented. You can't bury a ghost made of pixels. That evening, Daniel sat in the living room, head in his hands. He hadn't spoken to Lily since the morning. She stayed locked in their room. The house felt like a coffin, full of breath, but no life. That night, I dreamed of Robert. He was sitting at our old kitchen table, smiling that tired, gentle smile. He said, "You can't heal by shouting, Maggie. You heal by choosing what to carry." When I woke, the words still echoed, but my heart wasn't ready for healing. Not yet. I walked down the hall to their room. The door was half open. Lily sat on the bed, laptop glowing in the dark. I saw folders, names like family drama, mother-in-law raw, viral cut. She didn't notice me. I watched her click upload and whisper, "Just one more," for closure. That was the moment something inside me cracked. "Closure?" I said aloud. Lily froze. Her eyes went wide. "Mom, it's not what it looks like. It looks like betrayal dressed in excuses." She stood, trembling. "I deleted the others, I promise." "You can't delete shame," I said, "and you can't edit guilt out of your story." She started crying, really crying now. Her voice broke. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted people to understand me, to see what I live with." "What you live with," I repeated, laughing bitterly. "You mean us, your family?" "I felt trapped here, Mom. I wanted someone to listen." Her honesty burned worse than lies. Daniel appeared in the doorway, pale, eyes glassy. "Lily, stop talking." "No," I said, stepping forward. "Let her finish." "I grew up invisible," Lily whispered. "My mother never cared. When people watched my videos for the first time, I mattered. For a second, one heartbreaking second, I saw not a villain, but a broken child." Daniel's voice shook. "You could have talked to me, not the internet." "I tried," she said softly. "You were too busy choosing sides." "Don't blame me for your lies." They screamed, and I stood between them like a ghost, a mother watching her son's marriage collapse in real time. Finally, I said, "Enough, both of you." They stopped, even the air stopped. I looked at Lily. "Leave, not forever, just leave tonight. I need air." She nodded silently, packed a bag, and walked out into the cold night. Daniel didn't move. He just stared at the door long after it closed. Hours later, he whispered, "Mom, was I blind?" I touched his shoulder. "Love blinds the best of us." He started crying quietly, not loud sobs, but small broken sounds. And for the first time since he was a child, I held him. Outside, rain began to fall again. The same rain from the night I found the recorder. Except this time it felt heavier, as if the sky itself couldn't forgive us. When I woke, Lily was gone. But her phone was on the counter, still logged in. I shouldn't have looked. But curiosity and pain make a dangerous pair. Her inbox was full of messages. Followers begging for updates, sponsors offering deals, strangers telling her she was brave for exposing her toxic in-laws. Brave. That word made my stomach twist. I closed the app and deleted her accounts one by one. Not out of vengeance, but out of mercy. For her. For us. That evening, Daniel asked if I hated her. I thought about it, truly thought. "No," I said finally. "I pity her because she doesn't understand the difference between attention and love." He nodded slowly, eyes red. "I don't know if I can forgive her." "You don't have to," I said. "Just don't let hate make you like her." We sat in silence, listening to the wind against the windows. The house felt fragile, like one wrong word could shatter it. Later that night, I returned to the porch, the same place we used to drink tea together. I stared at the empty chair where Lily once sat, and I realized something painful. The internet didn't destroy my family. We did, because we forgot how to talk when no one was watching. I closed my eyes and whispered to the wind, "If stories are what she wants, then maybe it's time I tell mine." The rain stopped, but inside me, the storm had just begun. 3 days passed, 3 days of silence, of deleted accounts and broken trust. I thought the storm had ended, but online storms don't die, they hibernate. Someone had re-uploaded the videos, different usernames, new captions. Mother-in-law from hell. Compilation Part 2. This time, my face wasn't blurred. My name was in the comments. Margaret Henderson lives in Maplewood. Classic narcissist. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. My hands shook, not from anger, from shame. Daniel walked in, saw what I was looking at, and turned the laptop around. "Mom, stop reading that." But the damage was done. I'd become content again. The next day, at the market, people stared. Some pretended not to recognize me. Others looked too long. A woman I'd known for 20 years whispered to her friend, "That's her, the woman who threw a plate at her son." I never threw anything, but lies spread faster than truth ever could. I hurried home, groceries shaking in my hands, and for the first time in decades, I locked the door behind me. That night, Daniel spoke softly, as if afraid of waking a ghost. "Mom, she's back in town." I froze. "Why?" "She said she wants to apologize publicly, to clear things up." I laughed, sharp, bitter. "Apologies don't trend, Daniel. Drama does." He rubbed his face. "She's not the same, Mom. She's scared." "Good. Maybe fear will teach her what decency couldn't." He didn't answer. He just stared at the wall, and I realized my son was breaking in ways I couldn't fix. The next morning, Lily stood on my porch, hair unkempt, eyes hollow. She held a small camera in her hand, switched off for once. "Can I come in?" she asked. I hesitated, then opened the door. She stepped inside like someone entering a church, quiet, reverent, guilty. "I came to say sorry," she whispered. "Not on camera, just to you." I folded my arms. "Why now?" "Because I lost everything, the sponsors, the followers. Daniel." Her voice cracked on his name. I wanted to stay angry, but anger felt heavy, like carrying wet sand uphill. "Fatrikien," she sat across from me at the kitchen table, the same table where we once laughed over burnt pancakes and gossip. "I thought I could control the story," she said, "make people love me by showing them my pain. But I only made more pain." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I finally deleted everything." I looked at her, really looked at her. Not the influencer, not the villain. Just a young woman who'd lost her way. "Lily," I said quietly, "you recorded my shame, but you also recorded your own." She nodded. "I know." Later that week, she posted one final video. Not of fights, not of tears, but of truth. A plain shot of herself sitting in her car, eyes swollen, voice trembling. "I hurt the people who loved me most," she said. "I turned real pain into entertainment. Don't do what I did." It wasn't dramatic. It didn't go viral, but for the first time, it was real. Still, the comments were cruel. People called her manipulative, a liar, a fraud seeking sympathy. The internet has no room for redemption. She deleted her account 2 days later. Even after that, the whispers in town didn't stop. When I went to church, I could feel eyes following me. When I spoke, people hesitated before replying. Once, the pastor asked gently, "Have you found peace, Margaret?" I smiled. "I'm learning." Because peace isn't something you find. It's something you rebuild from ruins. A month passed before Daniel spoke her name again. We were having dinner, quiet, simple, when he said, "I met Lily yesterday." I didn't look up. "Oh, she's leaving town, said she's sorry." He swallowed hard. "I told her I still love her, but I can't live in her world anymore." I reached across the table, squeezed his hand. "You did the right thing." He nodded, tears in his eyes. "Sometimes I wish the internet had a delete button for memories." I smiled sadly. If it did, no one would ever learn. Weeks turned into months. The videos vanished from search results. New scandals replaced old ones, as they always do. But scars don't trend, they stay. One afternoon, I cleaned the kitchen and found that same tiny recorder again, still hidden behind the curtain. The battery was dead, but I kept it. A reminder of what happens when you let the world listen before you do. I placed it in a drawer beside Robert's wedding ring, two symbols of the life I'd built. One born of love, one born of lesson. One night I wrote a letter, not to Lily, not to Daniel, but to whoever might someday find it. If you're reading this, I wrote, remember that silence can be sacred. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every wound needs an audience. The world will watch you fall, but only love will help you rise. I folded it, slipped it into the same drawer. Then I turned off my phone and listened to the quiet. For the first time in months, the silence felt kind. The storm outside had ended, but a softer one kept living inside me. A drizzle of regret, forgiveness, and faint hope. I knew tomorrow the sun would rise again over this tired house, and maybe, just maybe, laughter would return someday. Not recorded, not edited, just real. 6 months have passed since the storm. The air in Maplewood smells of lilacs again. The neighbors no longer whisper when I walk by, or maybe I've simply stopped listening. Daniel moved into a small apartment downtown. He visits every Sunday for dinner, always bringing flowers, tulips, my favorite. He says it helps reset the mood. I smile and tell him we don't need to reset life. Just learn how to live it again. Sometimes I catch him scrolling absent-mindedly, then putting his phone away, as if it burns his hand. We both learned the same lesson in different ways. Silence isn't loneliness, it's freedom. In the evenings, I write letters I never mail. One for Lily, one for myself. One for the woman I used to be, before the internet knew my name. Dear Lily, I write, I wanted you to know that I no longer hate you. Anger was easy. Understanding took time. You didn't destroy me. You just made me see what I valued most: privacy, honesty, and the small sacred moments that belong to no one else. Sometimes I read the letters aloud, just to fill the house with a voice again. One windy afternoon in November, the doorbell rang. When I opened it, Lily stood there, thinner, quieter, older somehow. She held no phone, no camera, only a small brown envelope. "Hi, Mom," she said softly. It was the first time she'd called me that since everything ended. I stepped aside. "Come in." She looked around the living room, eyes glistening with memories. "I thought you'd never want to see me again." "I thought so too," I said. "But time makes fools of us all." Yandami. She smiled weakly, handed me the envelope. Inside was a handwritten apology. No hashtags, no filters. "I ruined the story you were trying to live. I'm sorry for turning it into one the world could consume." I read it twice, then I hugged her. She froze for a moment, then broke into quiet sobs, the kind that sound like healing. That evening, Daniel came by. When he saw Lily sitting at the kitchen table, he stopped cold. No shouting, no tears, just 3 people breathing the same heavy air. Lily whispered, I just wanted to say goodbye properly. Daniel nodded. You already did, but I'm glad you came. I watched them, two young souls carrying scars no one could see, and for the first time in months I felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness exactly, but release. They talked quietly for an hour. When she left, Daniel stood by the window long after her car disappeared. She's trying to be better, he said. I know, I replied. So are we. Word spreads quickly in small towns, but so does compassion once people tire of cruelty. When the church asked me to speak at a community meeting about digital ethics, I almost refused. But then I remembered, silence kept me prisoner once. So I stood before a small crowd of neighbors and said, we used to hang our laundry outside, now we hang our hearts online. But not every stain needs sunlight. Some things are meant to stay tender, unseen, protected. People listened, some cried. Afterward, a young girl came up to me, trembling. My mom and I fight too, she whispered. I was thinking of posting it, but I won't now. I touched her hand. Good, some lessons are better lived than watched. Spring returned. I planted tomatoes again in the backyard, the same soil that once hid that cursed recorder. Now it grew something living. Every morning I'd water the plants, whispering a small prayer. Grow honest. Daniel joked that I was talking to vegetables. But I knew better. I was talking to myself. Fatimha. In June, I received a postcard. No return address. Just a picture of the ocean and one short line on the back. Thank you for letting me be human again. I smiled. Forgiveness doesn't always need witnesses. Sometimes it just needs distance. Some nights I rewatch old family videos, the ones recorded on an actual camcorder long before smartphones. Birthdays, barbecues, Robert waving at the camera, Daniel riding his bike. No filters, no audience, just moments. And I realize that's what I'd been missing all along. Life that doesn't perform itself. People often say time heals all wounds. That's not true. Time just teaches you where to put the pain so it doesn't block the sunlight. I still hear echoes of my own voice online sometimes, clips floating around, reposted by strangers. But I no longer flinch, because that voice isn't me anymore. It's a version of me that learned the hard way how to protect what matters. If you're listening to this story, I hope you remember one thing. The world doesn't need to see everything to believe you exist. Hold some parts of your life close. Keep them sacred. Love louder than you record. Because the internet forgets in seconds, but kindness echoes. Soft fade, music slows. The mother's voice lingers like a whisper. In the end, I forgave her, not because she asked, but because I couldn't keep reliving a story that wasn't mine anymore.